It was good to be home in the spring of 1826, where I enjoyed the privilege of religious meetings and Christian friends. Yet, I was troubled.
What makes you so solemn, Joseph?
It's been about 18 months since I chose to serve the Lord, Prudy, but still, I do not feel forgiveness and conversion. It seems there should be some sign of God's power in my life.
Maybe you will receive some guidance at the meeting you are going to tonight.
And, Prudy, as I listened to the testimonies of conversion, I realized that this was my own experience. My views of conversion have been too limited. I overlooked the simple manner in which God graciously pardons the pleading sinner.
Son, I'm so happy to hear of your conversion. Does this mean that you'll attend the Congregational Church with your mother and me?
No, I don't think I can do that, Father. There are some doctrines in your faith that I just cannot accept.
But it's natural you should join our church. I had you baptized there as an infant.
That is one of the doctrines that bothers me. According to the Bible, we must first believe and then be baptized. I couldn't believe when I was an infant. Prudy, I have finally decided which church to join.
It's been a whole year. I was beginning to wonder if you would ever make up your mind.
Well, I have. By attending church with you, I've learned that the Christian church relies wholly on the Bible. I wish to be baptized by immersion in your congregation, my dear.
Oh, Joseph, this is the best news you could give me. Joseph, it's our old school chum, Carrie Middleton. She's come to welcome you home.
Well. Hello, Mrs. Middleton. I'm delighted to see you.
It's good to see you, Joseph. Well, now we've been acquainted too long for you to be calling me Mrs. Middleton. I'm Carrie to you, old friend.
All right. Carrie?
Ah, I see you've been reading the Bible. How long has it been since you were converted, Joseph?
I'm sorry to say I have never been converted in the sense you mean. I still carry a heavy burden of sin.
Oh, surely you've asked God for forgiveness.
Of course he has, but he's unconvinced that the Lord has granted him forgiveness. I believe his sins have been remitted.
Please, Prudence, don't deceive me about so important a matter.
I don't mislead you, husband, but I'm satisfied by the letters I received from you while at sea that if ever I was converted, then so are you.
From what Prudence says, you must be converted. Well, you should rejoice, my friend.
I'm sorry to disagree, Carrie. I feel that I should be fully convinced of my conversion before I can rejoice in it.
Nightly, I knelt in prayer with my family. I now had the privilege of religious meetings and Christian friends with weekly get-togethers in my home. For some time I had refused to believe that the Lord had forgiven me my sins. One night, in a prayer meeting in Taunton, Massachusetts, I again discovered the simple truth that God graciously pardons the pleading sinner. From that time, my tongue was loosened in praise of God. All doubts and darkness passed from me, and peace, like a placid river, again entered my heart and mind.
I'm eager to begin working for the Lord, Elder, and I hope you will join me in an enterprise I have in mind.
Brother Bates, please. You've just stepped out of the water of baptism. Allow yourself some time before you plunge into plans and projects.
But this cannot wait. I have been forcibly impressed to organize a temperance society. Will you join me in this enterprise, Elder?
I'm sorry, Brother Bates. I do not wish to become involved in this area.
Very well, then. Perhaps some other pastor will be more interested.
Why, Captain Bates, this is just what I've been waiting to see. The Congregational Church will certainly back you. At least I will, and I know 2 of my deacons who will be glad to join us.
Thank you, Pastor. I'm sure that with members of different denominations working together, the Temperance Society will grow quickly.
It's agreed, then. Captain Stephen Merrihew is president of the Fairhaven Temperance Society, and Mr. Charles Drew is secretary. To my knowledge, this is the only temperance society in existence.
As president of our group, it is my pleasure to report that more temperance societies have been formed. They include New Bedford, Bristol County, and the Massachusetts State Temperance Society.
Captain Merrihew, we have all been pleased at the many pledges signed by men and women who have attended our lectures. However, as papers and lectures have multiplied, opposition has begun to rage.
We must pray that God will sustain our work. It appears that the tide of temperance is ebbing.
Here, neighbor, join me in a glass of wine.
No, thank you. I never indulge.
Well, how about a glass of good old homemade beer? Best in the county.
That's kind of you, but I abstain totally from all alcoholic beverages.
You're one of them teetotal abstainers? Teetotaler? Well, I thought you was a man. Here y'all letting some dainty church ladies tell you what you can drink.
That's not true. I make my own decisions. I'll have a small glass.
Then came the Cold Water Army, little children from 4 years and up, singing their simple little songs in praise of pure cold water. Their stirring appeals re-aroused their parents to the work of total abstinence from all intoxicating drinks. In the midst of these labors, my brother Franklin returned from South America.
Joseph, I turn over command of the Empress to you. Have a good voyage.
Thank you, Franklin. But I must admit, this parting from my family and friends is more trying than ever before. Ship's log, August 9th, 1827. This morning, sailing from New Bedford for South America.
In Rio de Janeiro, we sold our cargo to the government and invested most of our funds in hides and coffee. A few hours later, we cleared for St. Catherine. My Brazilian agent, Mr. Carroll, had paid me my due just before sailing.
Well, that's the last of the manifest, Captain Bates. Looks like a very nice profit for the voyage, sir.
Mr. Haffords, something seems to be wrong. Please open the book again.
Aye, Captain.
Aha. Here is the mistake. Mr. Carroll has shifted a decimal point on the invoice. He's overpaid me by $500 in gold doubloons.
Yes, sir. What will you do?
I know. I'll send the skiff back to Rio with the money and a note explaining the mistake.
Sir, respectfully, I suggest we wait until the trip back.
First, we may not put into Rio again. Second, the money is not mine. Now carry out your orders, Mr. Haffords.
Aye, aye, Captain.
It was 1828. My seafaring days were now finished, and I settled down to a life with my beloved companion and my children in Fairhaven. I gladly re-engaged in the temperance work and other reforms.
Writing another letter to the Sailor's Magazine, Joseph? Or is this one to the Missionary Herald?
Prudy, my dear, I didn't hear you come in.
I dare say. That letter must be of great interest to you.
Actually, it's not a letter. I'm making some notes for the first meeting of the Fairhaven Seamen's Friends Society.
You'll never stop thinking of ways to help sailors, will you?
Someone must help them, and having been one, I flatter myself that I know their needs pretty well.
But if you take on this new project, will that leave you enough time to help circulate tracts for the American Tract Society?
To tell you the truth, my interest in that organization has waned. They've repeatedly refused to publish any tracts in favor of the downtrodden and oppressed slave. It seems the managers of the society have unbounded benevolence for the whole human race, except those who are suffering by their own firesides.
About this time, a particularly sleepless night convinced me to give up tea and coffee. In the year 1831, I sold my home in Fairhaven and located my family on my few acres, which I called Meadow Farm. But trouble was brewing. About the close of this year and commencement of 1832, anti-slavery organizations began to be organized, advocating immediate emancipation of slaves. These societies met with great opposition from the Colonization Society.
Friends, it is against the Constitution of the United States and the principles for which it stands that men are being subjected to the most vile of human conditions, slavery.
What are you talking about? Most of the signers of the Constitution were slaveholders.
He's right. And what's more, our country couldn't survive without slaves. Who picked the cotton and harvest the tobacco? Tell me that.
That's right. You tell him, Si.
Don't you understand? Our country cannot survive, cannot remain united if this disgrace of slavery is not abolished.
He's an abolitionist!
Let's hard feather! Ride him out on the rail!
We don't need his kind.
Not that way we lynch men like him.
Look out! Here comes the sheriff.
Prudy, more and more I feel the importance of taking a decided stand on the side of the oppressed slaves.
I'm not surprised, Joseph. You're such a good, caring man. That's one of the reasons I fell in love with you.
Perhaps I'm not so good as you think me. I fear to take this step. My stand on temperance has already caused a thorough sifting of my friends. I don't think I have enough left that I dare lose any more.
Are your friends more important to you than doing what is just?
Oh, you're right, of course. My duty is clear. I couldn't be a consistent Christian if I stood on the side of the oppressor or on neutral ground. God is not there. My only alternative is to plead for the slave.
The first meeting of the Fairhaven Anti-Slavery Society will come to order. Let the record show there are 40 charter members, an auxiliary to the New England Anti-Slavery Society. Our chaplain will pronounce the invocation.
We will pray for those in the churches who are offended by this holy work. And as we pray, let us also remember them that are in bonds as bound with them.
As the work advanced during the years of 1832 to 1835, there was much contention from all quarters of the Union. One of our members was arrested in South Carolina and renounced abolitionism to save his life. But opposition was more clearly manifest in the North.
Be it known, therefore, that we hate, despise, and oppose the so-called Fairhaven Anti-Slavery Society as being a blot on the Union, that abolition and all societies which promote it are a festering sore on the face of our country, that such societies are unconstitutional and unpopular, and that it is our right, privilege, and duty to oppose and disrupt abolitionist meetings at every opportunity. All in favor?
Good evening, friend.
Where you going, friend?
To the anti-slavery meeting.
I thought so. Well, you can tell them from me. They're not going to have much of a meeting tonight. Some of us patriots are going to break it up. What do you think of that?
Well, I think it's typical of the evil of slavery. The whole system is so wicked its supporters cannot bear to see their fellow citizens exercise their constitutional right of free speech.
You just watch out, that's all.
In spite of many such threats, our meetings were never disturbed. Others, however, were not so fortunate.
Oh, such wickedness. How can they call themselves Christians?
What is it, dear?
A mob of gentlemen of property and standing in Boston tried to lynch William Lloyd Garrison.
Isn't he the editor of that paper, The Liberator?
Yes. He's written that slavery must be abolished immediately. He says that slavery is a sin, and you can't wipe out sin piecemeal. If slaves have a right to their freedom, it ought to be given to them, regardless of consequences.
He's right. How can anyone hate justice so strongly that they try to lynch someone who only speaks the truth?
Captain Bates! Captain Bates!
Huh?
Have you heard the terrible news?
No, what's happened now?
Elijah Lovejoy has been killed in Illinois.
The abolitionist editor? No.
Yes! He escaped the first time when a mob destroyed his printing press in St. Louis, Missouri. He moved across the river to Alton, but it seems that Satan's agents are everywhere. They burned his office and shot him as he jumped out of a second-story window.
By their fruits ye shall know them. How can anyone think that slavery is anything but evil?
Well, our views seem to be in a minority, Captain Bates. It is certainly not popular in government circles why President Jackson himself has asked Congress to give postmasters the power to stop the distribution of anti-slavery pamphlets.
That's true. He called them incendiary publications. He fears they will encourage slaves to revolt.
Incendiary, huh? Well, slavery itself is incendiary. I fear our whole country will suffer the flames of hatred and violence unless justice prevails. And soon.
While the subjects of anti-slavery and pro-slavery were agitating the Union, a wonderful phenomenon occurred in the heavens during the night of November 13th, 1833. The spectacular occurrence caused great alarm among the people of the whole world.
What is that light? Someone's house must be on fire. I must go help.
I'll get up too. Can you see whose house it is?
Why, it's not a fire at all. Come look at this. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Oh, the stars are falling.
Look, it's so bright in here. I can read my watch hanging over the mantel.
Oh.
Nothing like this has ever happened in my experience. I don't know what to make of it.
Could it be the Day of Judgment?
Satan! Satan! What's happening?
I wished I knew. It's been going on like this for hours. It was thickest about 4 o'clock. It looked like a real blizzard then, a blizzard of stars.
It looks like the whole world is about to come apart. Surely it's the Day of Judgment. I hope not. I'm not ready. Please, Lord, give me more time.
I've been keeping my eye on the morning star. Long as that stands firm, I think we're safe. But I'm afeard. I'm afeard that any moment.
I'm lost. I'm not ready.
Oh, Joseph, look! How beautiful!
You know, I think I know what this means. Remember in Matthew 24:29, Jesus gave his disciples signs that they might know when his coming was near. One of those signs was that the stars should fall from heaven. John the Revelator mentions it too.
Yes. Even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind.
Yes. Listen, Prudy. This letter is from an acquaintance of mine, captain of a whaling ship. He was anchored off the California coast at the time, and he reports he saw falling stars all around the vessel.
And the newspaper says the falling stars were seen across the world on the Red Sea. And in Liverpool, England, the meteors were as splendid as in North America.
The more I think about it, the more I'm sure that those of us who were fortunate enough to see this great exhibition saw not only the greatest display of celestial fireworks since the creation of the world, we saw Bible prophecy fulfilled.
While I had been sailing the seas around South America, my father had died. Before the year was out, my mother had also been removed by death. In his last will, my father had bequeathed me his small farm. I had saved more than $10,000 from my seafaring adventures, and I became determined to plant mulberry trees and start a silk industry in Massachusetts. In addition, I was active in my church, the Temperance and Seamen's Friends Societies, and the American Tract Society. In the year 1831, I sold my place of residence in Fairhaven and located my family on my few acres, which I called Meadow Farm.
Hello up there.
Why, hello, Prudence. What brings you down here?
Your lunch? It's way past noon, and I'm sure you must be hungry by now. I brought you some hot stew and apple pie.
Ah, that sounds wonderful. And smells wonderful, too.
I see you are about finished with your carpenter work.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't understand why you need a schoolhouse on this farm, Joseph. It seems like a waste of time and money to me.
It will pay for itself in time.
Well, I don't see how...
I intend to have manual labor classes in this little building for young people.
To what end, Joseph?
I calculate to employ them part-time harvesting the mulberry leaves and attending to the feeding of my silkworms. As the work advances, I'll teach them to reel and prepare the silk for market.
So you still think it's possible for a silk industry to succeed in Massachusetts?
I have all the confidence in the world, my dear. The trees of my first mulberry orchard are already bearing fruit, and the worms we've been experimenting with are doing well. I'm satisfied that with care and attention, the business can be made very profitable.
Whoa there.
Howdy, Elder Richards. Tie your animal to this tree branch.
I don't know what's gotten into this fool nag lately. Whoa, I said. Settle down till I get you tied. There. That'll hold you.
He'll calm down in a little while. What can I do for you, Pastor?
I see you're busy with your mulberry trees.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to disturb your work.
No, that's all right, Pastor Richards. I was looking for an excuse to take a little rest.
Well, I am going to preach a sermon tomorrow evening at the North Christian Meeting House in New Bedford. I wondered if you and Mrs. Bates would like to come.
Tomorrow evening? Yes, I'll come. What's your sermon going to be about?
The second coming of Christ.
What?
Oh, don't look so skeptical, Joseph. It is going to happen. And very soon now.
Begging your pardon, Pastor, but can you show proof that the second advent is near at hand?
I believe that I can, my friend. Will you come and listen?
Oh, of course I'll come. But I find it hard to believe that anyone can predict the time of our Savior's second coming.
When I heard Elder Richards present testimony from the Bible to prove his points, I was deeply interested, and so was my companion. After the meeting, I drove home, deep in thought.
That is the truth.
Oh, Joseph, you are so sanguine always.
Not so. Elder Richards has made it clear, at least to my mind, that the second coming is near. We shall go to the meeting tomorrow evening and hear more.
My companion and I attended the rest of Elder Richards' lectures, and I came away from them more convinced than ever. I obtained William Miller's book of 19 lectures, which I read with profound interest, especially his arguments about the prophetic periods of Daniel's visions. I had read them before, of course, without realizing that days were in reality years. Now I realized that those years were indeed about to close, sometime in 1843. On September 15th, 1840, The Signs of the Times published a call for a general conference to convene in the Chardon Street Chapel in Boston. The conference, which was well attended, met on October 14th, 1840, and lasted for 2 days. It closed with the communion of the Lord's Supper to about 200 people of different denominations. The movement was growing, but so was the opposition.
Well, hello there, Herman. What's a good word?
The good news is the soon coming of Jesus.
What? Are you one of them Millerites?
If I am, what of it?
Oh, why, man, that Miller is a loony. How does he know when Jesus is coming?
He knows from the Bible, Zeke.
Oh, don't be foolish, Herman. That stuff he spouts just ain't possible. Don't you see that?
Well, maybe you're right, Zeke. Now that I think of it, Miller's probably wrong.
From such small beginnings, doubt was put into the minds of many professed believers. Such was the case in my own church in Fairhaven. About this time, the congregation elected a new pastor, who was a source of trial to those who were a part of the Advent movement.
Brother Bates, I wanted to talk to you about, well, the congregation wishes you would not say so much about this second coming of Christ business.
What?
It's disconcerting.
Why, Pastor, don't you believe in the advent of the Lord? Don't you believe it is as true now as you did when Brother Miller preached it here last year?
Well,
you said you believed it wholeheartedly then.
Well, I do believe that Christ is coming, but, no one can know just when.
William Miller teaches that it will be in 1843.
We don't think so.
Oh?
Now, don't get me wrong, Brother Joseph. We all like to hear you preach, exhort, and pray. We don't like to hear you say so much about the second coming.
Do all the parishioners feel that way?
Well, yes. That is, many of them do.
Well, it seems that I will have to withdraw from the church.
No,
Good night, Pastor.
But...
It was a deep and traumatic trial for me to leave my church. 4 of us members had together built and paid for the church building at a cost of over $9,000. My effort to dispose of my shares to the congregation was refused, and I finally settled my interest at a sacrifice. I was now relieved of 12 years of responsibility and care. In May 1842, a general conference was convened in Boston. At the opening, brothers Charles Fitch and Apollos Hale presented a pictorial representation of the prophecies of Daniel and John. After some discussion, it was voted to have 300 of the charts lithographed. They were called the 1843 charts. In the month of August of that year, a camp meeting was held, the first I ever attended.
My land! Look at all the tents spread all around the speaker stand.
This was not to be the only camp meeting of the year. It seemed that camp meetings and conferences were springing up all over the eastern and middle states, as well as Canada, with believers proclaiming that the hour of His judgment had come. In September, another camp meeting was held near Salem, Massachusetts, with Elder Joshua Himes in charge. He pitched his huge tent, said to hold about 7,000 people, in the middle of a large field.
These camp meetings are getting bigger all the time. There must be 300 or 400 tents surrounding the big tent. Cooking fires all over the grounds. Hundreds of wagons and carriages of all descriptions. people milling around. What a wonderful sight.
Some of those tents are only made of bed sheets, Joseph. They won't amount to a hill of beans if it rains.
These folks aren't thinking of that, Prudence. They've come to hear Himes, Litch, Cole, Plummer, and Fitch. They're some of the best speakers for the cause.
I understand that William Miller can't be here.
That's right. He's attending a camp meeting in another state.
It was a thrilling time for all true Second Advent believers. It was about this time that I sold my place of residence and a great portion of my real estate.
Prudence, why are you sitting by yourself in the dark? Let me light a lamp. What? You've been crying. What's the matter?
Oh, Joseph, why must we leave our home? I've grown to love it so.
There, my dear, I understand your feelings. I love this little farm, too.
What if the Lord doesn't come as promised? Then we will have nothing. Nothing.
Do not doubt at this late date, Prue. I believe that the Lord will come.
But, husband, where will we go? After you pay off all your debts, will there be any money left?
Yes, of course there will. Now, please don't worry. We'll be just fine until the coming. Now, come and help me pack. I must get ready to go to Memphis, Michigan.
Why must you go there?
Because Brother Gurney lives there now. I'm going to convince him to go south with me. I want to bring the message to the slave states.
But that could be very dangerous, Joseph. Please, reconsider.
This is something I must do, wife. Now, please, help me pack my bag.
Now, we've been friends for a long time, Joseph, but I have to tell you, this is the most fool thing you've ever come up with.
Brother Gurney, the third angel, said that the message must be told to all the people of the earth. As far as I know, the slaves in the South have not been told.
Some of our people have tried, and barely got away with their lives. Brothers Storrs and Brown were chased out of Norfolk, Virginia just a few months ago.
I must go, my friend, and I want you to come with me.
You've gone daft, man. Those people in the South know you as an abolitionist. You'd be killed for sure.
Nevertheless, I must take that chance.
Well, you know I'd never let you go down there by yourself. But count me in.
A few days later, we took the railroad to Boston and caught a steamer bound for the city of New York. Brother Gurney and I spent a few days in that city, attending the meetings by William Miller. His acceptance by the multitudes was truly wonderful. We traveled from there to Washington and Annapolis by rail, and from there across Chesapeake Bay in a fishing trawler.
This is a poor time to be crossing the Chesapeake, Mr. Biggs.
Captain, I've crossed this bay in much worse conditions than this.
Joseph, I don't see how conditions could be worse than this.
Brother Gurney and I were put ashore at the small fishing village on the east shore of Kent Island. At the tavern, we found the people assembled for a town meeting. We asked for and were presented to the trustees of the only two churches on the island. We explained our mission.
No, sir. No, sirree. I ain't having no Millerites preaching in my church, and don't you forget it.
Same here. A couple of you fellows come around about a year ago. Well, they was lucky they didn't get tarred and feathered. No, not in my church either.
If you two come to stir up trouble, you better turn tail and skidoo right now. If you know what I mean.
I don't suppose you'd have an objection if we stay here in the tavern.
How should I know? There's the tavern keeper. Ask him.
Can I help you, gentlemen?
I hope so. We need a place to stay for a few days. Do you have a room available here in your tavern?
Oh, I'm sorry, all my rooms are taken because of the town meeting. But,
Yes, is there someplace else?
well, my mother lets a room at her house to the occasional traveler. She just went in the next room to talk to my wife. I'll go ask her. Sir, aren't you Captain Joseph Bates?
I am.
Well, I remember you when you came to my father's house one cold winter evening. My name is Nathan Merrick, and I was a small boy then.
Well, Nathan, you have a good memory.
Well, it's my mother's memory that's good, sir. She recognized you the minute you walked in.
Brother Gurney, in his powerful voice, told the assembled crowd that there would be a meeting the next afternoon when we would preach on the second Advent. Brother Merrick had kindly given us permission to use the public room of the tavern. The news of our meeting spread all over the island, and by the next afternoon, the tavern was filled to capacity, and the crowd was attentive.
Come in.
Sorry to bother you, but I just heard an ugly rumor.
Oh, what is that, Nathan?
Well, there's a rum store a few miles from here, and I understand that a bunch of thugs led by Richard Kent is planning to come up to this meeting this afternoon and seize you.
Kent? Do we know of a Richard Kent, Joseph?
I don't recognize the name. Who is he?
He's one of the trustees you talked to the first night you were here. He's a bully of the island, and he's got a lot of friends.
Yes. Now I remember. The tall, heavy-set fellow with the full beard?
Yeah, that's him. What will you do? Get off the island?
Why, no. This afternoon will be our fifth and last meeting. I think we owe it to the people to continue. Don't you feel that way, Brother Gurney?
That I do, Brother Joseph. Brother Nathan, we have never turned tail for anyone, and we are not much troubled by your news.
But Kent can be a very ugly and dangerous man.
Why don't you just come to the meeting with us, Nathan, and let Kent and his gang do their worst? Now, I've tried to make the message of the Second Coming as clear as possible with our preaching and this chart. Are there any questions?
I have a question about your so-called second advent, Mr. High and Mighty.
It's Brother Kent, I believe. Step right up in front, sir, and ask away.
My question is, did Jesus himself tell you the time he's coming?
No, of course not. Brother William Miller has deduced the time from his study of the Bible.
Deduced the time, did he? Well, I can knock his deducing into a cocked hat in 10 minutes flat.
Come on, sit down.
Now, please, brethren, please. Be quiet and let Brother Kent have his say.
I say again that nobody can tell when Jesus will come, especially that William Miller. Why didn't he tell me? Or you, Bill Sample? Or you, Paul Davis? I tell you, there ain't no way to...
Shut up, Richard Kent. You've got the biggest mouth on the island.
Yes, sit down. Let us hear this.
Well, maybe I can't talk as fancy as this Massachusetts Yankee, but I do know what me and my friends can do. We can ride them both out of town on a rail. That'll stop their blather.
We're ready for that, sir. If you will put a saddle on the rail, we would rather ride than walk.
Hey, that'll hold you for a while, Dick Kent. Oh my, the look on your face.
Even his beard is bristling. Guess you've met your match this time, Kent.
Please, brethren, we must not laugh at Brother Kent. Brother Kent, you must not think that we have come 600 miles through ice and snow at our own expense to bring you the midnight cry without first sitting down and counting the cost.
I can still get you, fellers. I got friends in this group.
Well, maybe you still have friends left. But if the Lord has no more work for us to do, we'd as lief lie at the bottom of Chesapeake Bay as anywhere until the Lord comes. But if he has any more work for us to do, you can't touch us.
On leaving Kent Island, we passed along the east side of Chesapeake Bay to the town of Centerville. We had sent a message ahead of us that we would hold meetings there. It was 30 miles distance, but we chose to walk so that we might have a chance to talk with slaves and furnish them with tracts.
Are you sure this was a wise thing to do, Joseph? We've been walking for about 10 miles, and the only person we've seen is a farmer driving a mule cart.
I'll admit the population seems to be slim around here, but we'll find some folks soon. Are you tired of walking, Brother Gurney?
Huh. You know very well that walking never bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, well, we would have gotten to Centerville a lot quicker if we'd taken the stage.
Excuse me, sirs. Are you the gentleman who came to preach at Centerville?
Yes, we are. What can we do for you?
I'm Augustus. I belong to Judge Hopper at Centerville. We heard that you all are preaching to us slaves, too.
That's true. All men, no matter what the color of their skin, must hear the message that Christ is coming soon.
They say you all are giving out tracts that explain all that.
Yes, we do have printed tracts. Now, here's one for you.
Thank you, sir.
Can you read, Gustus?
No, sir. They won't let us learn to read. It's against the law. But sometimes we can get them to read to us if it's about religion.
Will the colored people be able to attend our lectures?
I don't know, sir. But I think maybe they will let us come.
I hope so, Gustus, because our message is for everyone.
On arriving at Centerville, we made our way to the store of a Mr. Harper and gave him the letter of introduction we had received from Nathan Merrica. He presented us to Judge Hopper, who was sitting near the pot-bellied stove at the center of the store.
Judge, these two men have a letter addressed to you from Nat Merrica over on the island?
Let me have it, please. This note says you are Captain Bates and Mr. Gurney. Which is which?
I am Joseph Bates, Judge.
Bates, I have heard that you're an abolitionist and have come to get away our slaves.
Yes, I am an abolitionist, sir, and I have come to get your slaves, and you too.
What?
As to getting your slaves from you, why, we have no such intention. If you gave us all you have, we shouldn't know what to do with them.
Well then, what do you want with us?
Brother Gurney and I teach that Christ is coming, and we want all of you to be saved.
The judge seemed satisfied that we came to Centerville as friends. He invited us to make his house our home during our series of meetings, which lasted for 3 days. Many, including the black people who crowded in the rear of the hall, were vitally interested to hear for the first time about the Lord's coming. After leaving Centerville, we traveled deeper into the South. Word of our coming preceded us, and the crowds at our meetings were large even in the tiniest of towns. As the spring of 1844 approached, Brother Gurney and I headed north to be with our families, for we felt that the great day would soon be upon us.
Before Ellen Harmon had her first vision, God gave a message to William Foy, an African-American, also from Maine. William was born near Augusta in 1818, 3 years after Napoleon's defeat at Waterloo. We know that his parents, Joseph and Elizabeth Foy, were free farmers, and that in 1835, at the age of 17, William was converted under the preaching of Silas Curtis, a Free Will Baptist minister. The next information we have finds him moving to Beacon Hill in Boston about 1840 with his wife Anne and 3-year-old daughter Amelia.
William, I had no idea that Boston was so big.
It's big, all right, Anne. Why, Boston Common is almost as big as all of Augusta.
You found an apartment for us?
Yes, in the Beacon Hill area on North Grove Street. There are several churches within walking distance. The African Methodist Episcopal on May Street, the 12th Baptist on South Hart.
Colored churches?
Predominantly. But I'm told we'll also be welcome at the White Methodist Church on Broomfield Street and Joshua Hymes's chapel on Chardon.
Hymes? He's one of those Millerites, isn't he?
Oh, yes, he is. Well, they all seem to be especially accepting of people of color. They're good people with a good message. Not that I believe Christ is coming as soon as they say.
Will you have the chance to preach in all those churches?
I hope to be ordained in the Episcopal Church. But the congregations intermingle freely, so I expect to preach in other places, too.
I've learned that Boston has educational opportunities for colored people, too, and jobs.
Both are important. I think we chose wisely when we came here, Anne. And guess what?
What?
Both the Baptist churches and the African Methodist Episcopal are stops on the Underground Railroad.
Oh.
Do you think my sermon was well accepted, Anne?
Very well, I thought. The congregation seemed deeply interested as you presented the mercy and the grace of Christ.
I believe I'm getting the experience I need to round out my ministerial training. I've been invited to give a sermon next Sunday at the Baptist Church on Copley Square.
Oh.
On January 18th, the 23-year-old William and Anne attended a prayer meeting with a few members of the 12th Baptist Church on South Hawk Street.
And be with your children, Lord. Free them from oppression, from the chains of slavery. Give them a place in your house, Lord. And...
William! He's fainted! Someone get a doctor, please! How is he, Dr. Cummings? Will he be all right?
I don't know, Mrs. Foy. He's been out for 2.5 hours now. I've never seen anything like this before.
Oh, look! His eyelids are fluttering. William, are you all right, dear?
Oh, it's gone.
What's gone, dear?
So bright, so beautiful there. So dark here, so sad.
Something special has happened to you, hasn't it, Elder Foy? Please tell us.
I can't, Elder Black. Not now.
William, you've been depressed ever since you had that experience.
And God showed me the most wonderful, marvelous things. I'm convinced now that Jesus' coming is near.
You agree with William Miller, then?
Well, I don't agree with setting a definite date, but I think he's right, that we must look for the Lord to appear very soon.
But you haven't told others what you've seen.
I feel it's my duty to tell people, but who will believe me, a colored man?
If you're convinced it's a revelation from God, then you must tell the people.
The angel, or whoever that was who guided me, didn't say I must tell the vision.
Remember Jeremiah? He too feared ridicule, but God's word wouldn't leave him. It was like a fire burning in his very bones.
I'm not Jeremiah. Death and darkness seem to fill my heart. Sometimes I wonder if I was ever truly converted.
Seeking to ease his conscience, Foy met often with the people of God, but he found no peace or comfort. At last, he realized that he must tell the vision he had received. Then, on the evening of February 4th, as he met with the May Street congregation,
Praise God from whom all blessings flow.
William, are you all right? You look... William!
Elder Foy's sick.
He fainted.
What's wrong? Oh, he's going to be all right. I don't know. I've never seen horrible.
It's been more than 12 hours, Sister Foy. Perhaps we should get your husband to a hospital.
No, Elder Snowden. I'm sure he's in God's hands. Thank you, all of you, for staying with him.
He's coming around. Elder Foy! Elder Foy, are you all right?
Yes. As much as possible in this dark world.
Your wife says you had a vision, Elder Foy. Please, tell us what you've seen.
As soon as I receive strength, I'll reveal to you what God has revealed to me.
William found himself still loath to tell what had been revealed. After 2 days, God sent Pastor J.B. Husted, who invited William to relate his visions the next afternoon in the Second Methodist Episcopal Church on Bromfield Street, a white church. There, William found hundreds of people waiting to hear him. To the terrified man, each listener looked like a mountain. But as he prayed, he heard a voice promise, "I am with thee," and he gave his testimony.
I beheld one arrayed in white raiment, whose countenance shone beyond the brightness of the stars. This shining one took me by my right hand and led me upon the bank of a river. The righteous passed through 3 changes. Their bodies were made glorious. They received pure and shining garments, and bright crowns were given them. The angel laid hold upon the gate and opened it, and the saints, both small and great, sang with loud voices and passed within the gate. Beneath our feet was the appearance of pure glass. There were arrayed before me an innumerable multitude. Their crowns were like the brightness of stars. I beheld a tree that was like transparent glass, the limbs like gold. Beneath this tree, standing on the sea of glass, were the righteous, arrayed in white raiment, with crowns on their heads, plucking fruit from the tree. The guide said, "Those that eat of the fruit of this tree return to earth no more." I raised my hand to partake of the heavenly fruit, but alas, I immediately found myself again in this lonely vale of tears.
From March to May 1842, William traveled throughout New England, relating the wonderful things he had seen. People flocked to the churches and halls to hear about his revelations of heaven. Young Ellen Harmon and her family went to hear him at Beethoven Hall in Portland, Maine. All this time, he was at peace. Then, a new fear began to haunt him.
You see, William, I wasn't hardly nervous at all when you spoke tonight, even though I'm constantly aware of how dangerous it is for you to appear in public where you aren't known. Why, all we need is for one Southern planter to claim you're a runaway slave.
I know, Anne. And colored people, even freemen, aren't allowed to testify for themselves in court. I know.
So it's dangerous to be away from people who know us. Moving to Boston was bad enough, but traveling around like this... But I did sit very still tonight, I thought.
You did very well, Anne.
Then why do you look like you're suffering the blue megrims?
It costs money to travel, Anne. Money for us to eat and pay for lodgings.
But don't the gifts from the congregations cover expenses?
No. And all our savings are gone. To keep us from want, I'll have to stop preaching full time and go back to work.
William, you've been working for 3 months now, and you haven't cheered up at all.
You're right, Anne. I've had no rest, day or night. I must do my duty. I'll return to traveling and telling the revelations I've received.
William had some difficult times, and he faced prejudice. But he testified that God's promise to be with him never failed. He had 2 more visions, probably in the summer of 1844, and told these too. He remained active in the ministry until his death in 1893 at the age of 75, still expecting to meet his Lord, if not in this lifetime, then at the resurrection. God's first messenger fulfilled his duty faithfully, preparing the way for the next servant who would be called.